What up, y'all? It's your boy Ignit from Beatbox Entertainment. Today I'm going to teach you how to track a vocal properly. And you know what? I shouldn't even say properly because everybody has a way that they do it, but I'm going to show you my way, some of my belief systems. If you watch this video, you are going to learn how to track vocals without clipping. You're going to learn how to track vocals even over a beat without clipping. You're going to know where to set up your microphone to track the best vocals. We're going to talk about interfaces, preamps, and channel strips as well. Okay, so let's just start with it. The very beginning of a vocal chain is the microphone. All right, so I see people make this mistake a lot, and contrary to your belief, you do not want to set this microphone up next to a wall. Even if you have like one of those reflection filters that you see people put behind them, the closer you are to a wall, the more likely it is you're going to get reverberation. That sound is going to bounce off of the wall and then back into your microphone. And then it's just going to make your mix sound bad when you start trying to tweak it. If you can avoid sitting next to a wall while you record, do so. I definitely understand people's situations. Or, you can treat your room acoustically. You can get acoustic panels, whether they be the foam panels or like the harder panels that you hang up on the wall. That will definitely help treat your room, but try your best not to be located directly next to a wall. Next, let's talk interfaces. Right, so now we got the microphone set up. We're not by the wall. Most interfaces have a gain knob on them. Well, most interfaces have a preamp first. We'll say that. Microphones like this is a condenser microphone. It needs phantom power, which means it doesn't have its own power, so it's going to get power from either the microphone preamp or the interface. Like I said, most interfaces have a preamp, and sometimes they're good. Most of them actually are decent enough to power your mic up and record. So I guess the next question would be, do you need a microphone preamp? The answer to that is maybe. I think it's always good to have, like, you start seeing the price tag for some of this stuff and you don't want to spend that money, but I think it's always good to have quality gear when you can. If budget is tight, I'm pretty sure like the Focusrites are very popular. I know everybody got an Apollo. Those will do, but you may want to get an outboard preamp or a channel strip like mine, which I guess will lead me into the next thing. I'm gonna flip cameras here so I can show you my channel strip and kind of how we want to go about that. So let's see. There we go. I'm doing all this live, so bear with me. Okay, so these are some of the most basic controls you're going to know. I do not like that echo. Let's get rid of that echo. Okay, there we go. And then let's take me out of here, or at least put me. Okay. And I think the only way that you're going to be able to hear me is if, let me see if I still read. Yep. The only way you're going to be able to hear me is if I stay. That took my sound away. Okay. So we're going to make it do what it do anyway. All right. So as you can see here on the right screen, this is like a channel strip. Now, these controls are pretty standard across the board. In studio lingo, let me get rid of this echo over here. In studio lingo, gain is, it's like volume, but it's not. Gain is Gain is volume before it reaches a fader, if that makes sense, or before it reaches another source, if that makes sense. So, for instance, this may be a little advanced for this conversation, but if I change the gain of a recording and I have a compressor plug-in on it, changing the gain is going to affect how hard that compressor works on the recording, but it may not increase the volume on the fader, if that makes sense. It may. It depends on how the compression settings, but that's the way I want you to think about gain. Gain is like volume before the volume. But anyway, one of the main controls here, gain. As you see, I use this 1176. This is basically gonna change the amount of send that you're sending from your microphone to your interface. So if you got someone who's whispering, you probably gonna want to turn this bad boy up. But if you got somebody that's yelling, you're gonna want to turn this bad boy down. Um, and you get a good channel strip or a good preamp, they'll have multiple levels. So this is kind of more on mine. That one's kind of more of a, it's like you take a big swing at gain. So you see it's 5 dB up each time. This kind of is like a fine tuning of it. So I can gently raise the volume or gently decrease it. Um, if you get the chance to use a channel strip, a lot of times they'll come with equalizers as well. So now not only am I affecting the level of the microphone, but now I can actually EQ it to a song. And I think this is a very important part. If you are recording somebody in the studio, um, you definitely want to have them practice before you start recording them, right? So it's to your advantage if you're an aspiring engineer. It's to your advantage if you at the crib and you're recording yourself. If you can just take a second and spit your shit. Um, and I know it's hard to do two things at once because a lot of times we reading off our phones. But if you memorize your lyrics, if you can just start rapping it a little bit, maybe your favorite part, and you could change these settings coming in, it'll save you a lot of headache later. Because sometimes, especially when you're working with artists, they want to hear themselves soft stuff. They want to hear themselves like not with hella effects, but if you don't want it to sound crazy, or else they may get upset. But anyway, EQ and then compress. Now, I generally do not use a compressor when I'm recording. Sometimes I will. However, I don't think it's necessary because I have so many compression plugins. But just depending on the vibe that I'm looking for, I will use a compressor. And maybe you'll be able to hear it now if I engage it. Let's see. Once I'm gonna turn this bad boy on, compression ratios. Um, see this one goes 1, then it goes to 4-1, then it goes to 8-1, 12-1, 20, and then all. Basically, what that is like how the transients are hidden. It's going to reduce about that much. So like 4 dB when it engages the compressor. Let me see. Let me say this the right way. When it hits the compressor, um, when it hits the threshold that you set on your compressor, it is going to lower the transients negative 4 dB or and that's why they call it squashing the signal sometimes. So let me see if I can get this compressor to react to what I'm doing right now. It's a little bit because you'll see it. You probably can hear it. My voice is probably getting a little bit more and more squash. We'll change it to 8. It should sound a little more and more squash. Let's change it to 12. It may even start sounding distorted. But that's pretty much what a compressor will do. And I don't like to use these before I don't like to use these while I'm recording. I like to use these afterwards in case it really calls for it. And there will be some instances where it will call for compression. I should have put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but we're going to roll through this anyway. All right, so next I would say let's get into actually tracking the vocals. So now we didn't talked about gain, setting the EQ, and then let's get into tracking the actual vocals. So one common mistake that I see a lot of people make, and hopefully I can share this screen with you. Let's get this guy out of here. All right, one common mistake I see a lot of people make is when you record a song, you do not want to have the volume of the song or the beat all the way up. That is a no-no. It's a big no-no. You do not want to record to a beat that is as loud as it was when it was printed as a master. So I'm going to show you what I do in those situations, and going to put myself here in the corner of the screen somewhere. There we go. I know that looks a little trippy, but that is StreamYard. Shout out to them for making a dope product. All right. So for instance, when you get a beat, and here we're talking about gain again. I wish I could blow this little part up, but this is my gain knob right here. And off rip, I set my gain. This says -5, but I really set it to -15. So I got gain on the instrumental bus, but I also have it. I have it on the instrumental channel, but I also have it on the instrumental bus at -10. So just so I'm not confusing you, I'm just gonna set this back to -15 dB. And this is how I like to start. And I know a lot of y'all gonna be watching this like, nigga, I'm not gonna be able to hear the beat. I want to feel the beat in my ears when I'm recording. I got you. Trust me. What you're gonna do to compensate is, instead of having people yelling over the beat and you clipping, recording vocals clipping, if you put a limiter, so let me take this off. I use the most low latency limiter I can find, which in this case I'm using the Waves L2. I'm gonna put this bad boy. Oh, my camera's in the way, so I'm trying to look past it. There we go. I'm gonna put this bad boy on my master bus, and essentially what a limiter does is very similar to a compressor. The difference between a limiter and compressor: a limiter is more instant. A compressor allows a little bit of time. That's why compressors have like attack and release on them. Most limiters, I mean, this one has release, but normally the attack is like instant on a limiter. So it's like squashing that shit immediately. So here, now check this out. I'm going to play this beat. It's a beat that I made. If you like it, I do these in session. I do get some stuff online too, but I'd rather do them in session and build with you. Make sure we create some dope shit. But check this out. So, as you see right now, this beat on the master fader is hitting -15. I don't know if y'all can see that. That's -15. Now, if I drop this threshold, it's going to increase the volume. You'll hear the beat get louder and louder. You hear that? Keep lowering this threshold into this output. So I would say keep this out ceiling at -0.1, but drop this threshold down a little bit until it's hitting that. And now you got yourself a loud beat, but you did not increase the volume of the beat. You still left it at -15. You essentially what you did is you created headroom so you can make room for everything else. But now that you can hear the beat loud, I'm going to turn this inspector on, and you're going to hear my voice. It may sound a little funny because it's already feeding. It's going to sound a little phasey because you're going to get like a double feed. But this is how you can record loud over a track without clipping. As you can see, my voice right now is still hitting about -18. And that's where you want to be. You want to be above negative 18 dB and lower than negative 6 because you don't want to clip. You still want to give yourself some headroom. But my process is this. Damn, I got a freestyle now or something? Damn, I just realized I got a beat and I got to record to the beat and I got to say something that makes sense. So let me freestyle. This might be tough, but let's go. You know what? Let's back the bus up real quick. One thing I did not do that I always do before tracking vocals is get the tempo of the beat. Now, my tempo is already there in my beat description, but just in case I didn't have that, Logic has this BPM counter, so you can just literally find that in metering, BPM counter, hit stereo. That bad boy will pop up as soon as you press play. As long as you put this on the instrumental channel. As long as you press play, it's going to read it. It does have difficulty reading beats that don't have drums. So like if it's just a piano ballad or something, you may need to tap it out. And I got something for that too. Let me see if I can show y'all something else. I was looking at some gear earlier. But yeah, all eights. This is a key website. If you don't have a BPM counter plugin, what you can do on this site is they'll press play. They want you to click in this box, and then any key on your keyboard you can tap to the beat, and you can get relatively close to the instrumental. I mean to the BPM. So let's try it. Close. 117.89 is what I got from tapping it out. They telling me it's 118. I think you are always going to want to round up to the nearest hole. As you see it, they have it there, 118. I tapped 31 times. I think it's key to tap probably about 30 times. Because sometimes if you do it too quick, you might not be on rhythm at first. But I think the longer you're tapping on time, the more accurate that reading is going to be. But that is a lifesaver if you do not have a BPM counter, or if you're working with an instrumental that does not have drums on it, so you can't like line up the transients or whatnot. You could definitely tap that joint out and figure it out. But all right, back to recording. You see I was trying to like avoid freestyling, right? Well, here we go. I know I got some bars. Yeah. Another thing that I will do too is, now that I got everything going in here, I've EQ'd out here. I did not do any compression, but I will do some in the mix. Think of it from the like Think you're trying to find them words, like I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. I can't freestyle, but look, check this out though. As someone's going, again, this is why doing a practice run is important, because if I'm sitting here engineering somebody, I am going to listen to this vocal. I'm going to EQ this bad boy slightly to make it fit in the beat a little bit better. I'm gonna slap that compressor on there. You don't want your compressor to be compressing too hard while they record, but you do want it to be doing a little something. And this one the 1176 is a faster compressor that I think is, it works really well on rap vocals. So try to keep it, no more than like a -6 or a -8 dB of reduction on this bad boy, and you should be good to go. Now we've gotten the beat loud, we've gotten the vocals where, again, none of that shit was clipping. Here, let me play it back. You see, think you're trying to find them words, see where that vocal's hitting too? What is it hitting? It's hitting above -18, but below -6. Even I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. I can't freestyle, but look, check this out though. As someone's going, again, but that's how you do it. And then ultimately, I would, before I start mixing, I'm gonna take this limiter off, let everything come back down to volume, so I'm hearing it right, because limiters will will squash the sound. It will squash the signal, and you want to eventually bring everything back up to volume, but you can wait for that while you mixing. I hope some of this stuff helps. If you got any questions, definitely shoot them in the comment. Oh, yo, them yay ad libs, yeah. But yeah, man. So that's pretty much it. I want to do more of these. So we got a couple people in here. If you fucking with the content, man, share it. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, all that shit. If you're on Facebook, oh Jonah in the building. Yeah, what's cracking, man? Yeah, share this shit, man. I definitely want to do more teaching. So that's it. Till next time. I think we done. Maybe we not done. This broadcast ain't ending.